that loss was a wake-up call for them.
Yeah.
Alex decided to rally the troops, make some magic happen, of course.
Looks like it. Team Alex is definitely in the lead.
Are you Team Alex or Team Huck? That's just what it is. It's
Team Jacob.
Yeah, no. I didn't want to bring up that reference, but then it kind of went in that direction, so I'm a little embarrassed. Okay, so yes, jump attack. Thank you.
This is my favorite too. So he's switching to a totally different loadout. So he's got jump, which lets you leap incredibly high in the air, but it takes some skill to aim because you don't have a ton of air control.
Okay.
So you got to pick your spot, basically decide when to take off and try to land on people. So we'll see how good he can do.
Oh, this is going to be cool.
He also switched to ignore pain. So instead of enrage, what this basically does is harden your skin and you take 80% less damage. So it makes him an incredibly good. That's a pretty good jump.
Oh!
And now he's probably going to try a shockwave here. So we saw the ground slam last life. The shockwave lets you trade out the radial damage for a much longer range but line targeted stun.
Okay.
So he basically brings opens up the earth under him and sends like a pillar of knockdown in front of him in a line. So you get a little bit more range on your stun, but you don't hit everybody in the area anymore.
Yeah. Well, one thing we've learned here is that Huck's team's not the best with humans.
No, apparently not.
On the other side there, it took quite an effort for them to be able to win that one. So, look at that jump.
This is going to be a short jump. Yeah, he didn't quite do that right. But
he had to make a call there because he was getting shot in midair.
Here comes that shockwave.
Oh,
he got him.
Jeez, what a great lineup on that one.
And so he's tanking right now. So what I like to do when I play Brute a lot is what he's doing, which is, get your damage absorption up and actually intercept projectiles. So, the humans might not choose to attack you if they see you're invincible, but you can actually block bullets or alchemist bombs with your body.
Okay. So if an alchemist
shield, basically.
So if an alchemist shoots in front, or a vampire shield. So if an alchemist shoots their projectile, will it explode on impact if you're standing right in front?
Yeah, and she will actually take some damage from her own bomb. So if you crowd her, you can actually get her to kill herself by shooting bombs.
Wow. So and that's some advanced thinking.
Yeah,
there, right?
Definitely.
That's pretty sick though that you can get to that point thought wise and be like, all right, well, let's see where the situation is. A lot of closed off areas. Ooh, this isn't good. But might actually bust out that the ignore pain and try and make something happen. And he's second now, which isn't going to be good. It's actually at 135.85. Did not get a chance to do it.
They have a pretty comfortable margin of victory, but I think he's going to try a little
Sentinel gameplay. I like.
Victory Sentinel since they're about to win.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of the Sentinel earlier. Couple sweeps and being able to pick people up.
It's like he's got a different skin on. This is the Hammerhead skin, as we call it.
Yeah, I actually saw this one. Very unique design.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And now the humans, of course, have a long road to victory here.
Definitely.
They get 5 points for every cap, though.
Yes, they do. So if they were somehow able to capture 3 points without dying, which is fairly unlikely, now 1 life left, they could theoretically win, but it's not looking too good.
Yeah, and the other thing to bear in mind as well, and something I've noticed, is the humans, and there you see it right there. So seems like Alex's team with a deciding 10-point victory in Siege. Something I noticed was they weren't sticking together. They weren't working well with one another.
They seem to struggle with that this game. So that will definitely spell your doom if you don't coordinate very well.
Yeah.
So you can see Amazing Hawk on the other team. Our All-Star was 1-8, so he must have just had an off game.
Oh, man. Well, that's actually Siege was fun. That looked great.
Yeah.
I would say it's a great twist on the what you'll commonly see on Deathmatch.
Sure.
And I think it lends itself really well to Nosgoth. So it's pretty cool stuff there. Cool. All right, so when we come back, we're going to have our third and final game. Should be awesome, of course. And we got a little special surprise as well in just a bit. So you're not going to want to miss this one. We'll see you guys in just a few. right, guys, welcome back here to our Nosgoth broadcast. Of course, Alex joined by Corey here. We're talking about everything that's going on in the game, and before the break, I said we're going to see something pretty cool. So as the game goes on, just keep your eyes out because something could be a little out of place. Now, I don't actually know how it's going to look, so they've been keeping me in the dark about this all day, which is actually not all that fair. So let's jump into the action. Yep. All right, so we are on Freeport, which is basically the map that everyone, if you played the alpha, you took part in. Really well made map, I must say. Well balanced, especially giving humans good cover and whatnot. And we're also seeing some hunter gameplay. Yep. So what should we expect here from these two teams?
I just saw something up there.
What is that?
I don't know what that is. So hopefully Alex's team, well, I guess they won the last round. So that is a different class that we haven't seen before.
Okay, what is that?
That is the Deceiver. It looks like, oh, you got saved. Man. So maybe we'll see what the Deceiver does in a second. Oh. But he is our 4th vampire class. You can see he's a little freaky looking. He doesn't run right.
Okay, so what is the Deceiver exactly? Like, what
so he's a master of illusion, basically mental powers, projecting things like that. So if you see a human doing something a little odd, you might want to whack them with your crossbow to make sure they're not a Deceiver.
Okay.
There comes a Reaver.
Yeah, there comes a Reaver. And it's oh my goodness. That is not good. Okay.
That was a pretty good escape, though. That Alchemist looked pretty similar to the other one. Oh, God. It was a Deceiver.
Oh. So the Deceiver actually shares all the same traits, right?
So he basically takes the form of a teammate. So you can damage him, though, and you can see blood come out. So kind of like figuring out a spy in Team Fortress. If you think a guy's suspicious, you can kind of shoot at him and see if he's a bad guy.
Okay.
But you have to be alert enough to notice that something's a little off.
Now, the other question I have about the Deceiver is that they also get the green hue around them as well, right? So,
yeah, so they look exactly like a team.
Oh my goodness, that is not fair.
There's no easy tell.
Why would you give that to me? That is something for me to worry about now. No. So, and now, what are some of the good counters for the Deceiver?
Well, pretty much any area of effect spell is going to make them take damage. So if you think you can drop pretty much anything, and if they're a bad guy, they're going to get outed pretty quickly. And generally, pretty much anything. You can just shoot at them and see if they're bad. So.
And when they're in Deceiver mode, when they're in the illusion, I should say, and they're like taking the form of a team member.
Yep.
Can they shoot?
As soon as they attack or use an ability, the illusion will break.
Okay.
So, but what they like to do, so what we saw a little bit of, but hopefully we'll see again. They have a backstab move where they basically conjure this sort of spectral blade out of their arm, and if they land it on you from behind, you take triple damage.
Oh, and the Deceiver actually tried to get away.
Dead there. So what works really well as a Deceiver is to sneak up behind people and then trigger the backstab out of your disguise.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's going to be a fun class to play. I can't wait to
So what we haven't seen yet, he can actually conjure 2 copies of himself.
Okay.
Spawn 2 illusions that you can't tell from him. So that's a good escape move as a Deceiver is to... if you're in trouble, pop your illusions, and the humans don't know which one's real, and you can run away at that point.
Oh,
there they are.
Oh, wow.
They actually take a bit of damage. That was the real one, it looks like.
Wow. So now, what are the travel paths for the fake one? Like, is it going to just run in a straight line? They pick a random enemy and chase them down, but they can climb walls just like any other vampire. So they'll traverse.
Yeah, they can do anything a regular player can do.
Goodness, that's insane.
Right now, they don't deal damage. They're just illusions, but we're considering having them do damage. It seems a little overpowered right now, so we're not doing it. We'll keep it in our back pocket if he needs a buff.
Now, speaking of the balance, though, we actually see the score right now is 12-2. Oh my goodness, that just freaks me out.
Like seeing him just backstab blade and stuff.
Oh man,
I think he's dead though.
Yeah. So score's actually tied right now, 12-12. Share with me some stats. I mean, because a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, "Oh, the vampire is that that tyrant. He's so good." But obviously it all comes down to like the individual player.
Sure.
What have you seen? Of course, because you're the all-knowing, seeing eye. What have you seen in your time?
So the most interesting stat out of the entire alpha test is we look at everything from player performance to win-loss for teams, and we've seen across the entire alpha that vampires win about 50.5% of matches and humans win 49.5%. So extremely close.
What? That's crazy. Yeah. So that's for any of the naysayers out there.
Yeah.
That are like,
So vampires are not overpowered.
yeah, they're not.
Or only
okay.
by 0.5%.
Yeah, right. And watch, there's gonna be someone that pops up on like the Nosgoth Reddit,
Sure.
and he's gonna be like, that 0.5%.
Well,
it's not fair.
It's an ongoing, I think we want the game to be as balanced as possible, but
Yeah.
it's going to be an ongoing process with this alpha and this beta. So.
Well, and when it goes out into the wild, people obviously are gonna react and do things different. So that's always gonna be a crazy experience there. Now
Definitely.
that you're kind of tossing new classes into that, it's really gonna mix up the meta quite a bit.
Very much so. So
Oh man.
That's something, we look forward to continuing to expand the class roster to keep the meta game and overall strategy. So he's back with the knockdown bow.
I saw that, and that was a great shot.
That was Reaver's all over him.
Yeah.
So he just put down a trap. We haven't seen that too much, but the scout has a proximity. Oh, there's a deceiver. He's down.
Got the knockdown. I actually got the kill assist on that too. Tyrant was
there. Goes the trap. So the trap persists even if you die. It's proximity based, so it's spring loaded. If a vampire gets too close to it, it will explode and do a lot of damage and stun them. So a good strategy as a scout is to trap maybe like the entrance to this hallway. And if a vampire tries to come in and flank you, he'll take a bunch of damage and get stunned. There go a bunch of deceiver copies.
Oh man, he doesn't know
that was the real one. I think he guessed right.
That was a good one.
Yeah, you can see he just flipped over. So an interesting thing is
and he changed it to him too, which I think is even funnier.
So what you were saying earlier, the downside to looking just like a human is they can see you through walls because you have that outline.
Okay.
So as a deceiver, you have to be really aware of the fact that once you pop that disguise, the humans are going to know where you are.
Well, and usually it could be best to just pop it when you're in like a group, right?
Or at the last second, so they don't see an outline coming from across the map at them. So it counterbalances the ability a little bit.
Yep, and
there goes a Reaver.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, he missed the knockdown shot.
Yeah, and that's a great knife there.
Humans are up 4 right now.
And the kill too. That was actually a really great. Oh, the deceiver! No, get away!
Down.
Oh man, that deceiver just pops up out of nowhere, and it looks crazy too.
He's pretty crazy looking.
So, have you guys when you came up with this idea, when you guys come up with a new class, how do you go about that?
It can be in a variety of ways. Sometimes we just want a new role for the game. Sometimes we just have an idea. The deceiver is actually one of the first classes we came up with because Dave and I both really wanted somebody that would sort of screw with you, show you things that aren't there, take over your controls. So one ability we're not showing today, but that he has, is called Dominate Mind, and what it actually lets you do is take over the target and run them away from their teammates.
Okay.
So we were big for that. He just disguised, I think. We were big fans of stuff like Eternal. He got the kill on the disguised deceiver.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that too, he popped the disguise when he was getting shot at.
Yeah.
But sometimes
it works.
Yeah.
In chaos. Yeah.
Now, is there like a certain amount of
bow.
Great shot. Is there a certain amount of assistance with it, or because of course I come from a console background, so is there? It's nothing really changes when you're aiming over that person versus your teammates or anything like that. It's all just controlled by you.
Yeah, we have a little bit of not deceiver specific, but we do have a little bit of aim assistance with human shots in particular, just because it's so hard to hit vampires.
Because of the speed.
Yeah, so it's very weak, and we're looking at, there have already been requests from players to turn it off, and obviously for esports, there can be a motivation to not have any kind of aim assistance. So we'll definitely look at ways to disable that type of stuff for competitive player for people that don't want it.
Oh, interesting. Of course, it's always good to have that freedom, right? And that's always a positive. So now we're switching here, and we're going to see Deceiver gameplay, and this should be fun. So let's see if our good friend Alex decides to jump to some Deceiver. No, he's going to stick with the Tyrant for right now.
Looks like it,
Yeah, safe bet, right? We'll probably switch to the Deceiver midway through the match, though. I don't see why not.
Okay. So he's using an ability I really like called Marathon, which we've seen the Tyrants charging around the map occasionally. Haven't seen it too much first person. Marathon's a cool variant that lets you go for much longer, as the name might imply, but it cools down much slower. So
and you still charge through people.
Right. It's functionally very similar to charge. It just lets you go for pretty extreme distances, so you can pull off some pretty crazy skill shots running around the map, but you have to use it a little more tactically because you can't use it as often.
Okay.
So see, he covered quite a bit of ground there. He's going to stun and maybe get the kill if the bullet doesn't go off here. Yeah.
Yep, that was actually a great one.
There comes some grenades. He's in trouble. Ooh. There comes the Ignore Pain, so he's soaking up some damage for his teammates.
Yeah, and he's going to go on. No reason to really go on the chase there.
Right.
But he is actually going to.
He's going to pop his charge.